You are listening to Thunderbolt Sports Talk. Here are your hosts, Charlie Adams and Timothy Yeen.
Welcome to episode 16 of Thunderbolt Sports Talk. I hope you missed us as much as we missed you guys after Christmas break. We're back with a new episode. No guest this time, but Tim Yeen is here as per usual.
We haven't seen you guys since last year, and we're happy to be back.
Oh, my God. Terrible start.
Love that. New year, new TST, new Thunderbolt Sports Talk. Coming at you every Friday. Question is, are we going to call for a season 2 after the semester ends? That's the question. But yeah, I'm a little bit sick today too, Chaz. Still recovering from when I was out this past Wednesday, but getting a little bit better. Voice getting a little bit stronger. Hopefully, healthy enough in time for boys basketball tonight.
Well, you're a little bit sick. I'm a little bit sick of you already. Starting the podcast with "It's been a year" joke is a great way to.
It's a fantastic
turn
joke.
Viewers away. I hear the clicks already. We're counting the weeks off until February break, of course.
I'm surprised we have any clicks left after
Ben Chen.
You've said it.
I mean, hey, the Ben Chen episode maybe didn't live up to the Caden Holtzman episode, but he was a good guest, and both guests received gifts at the start of their episode. And for this episode, we're going to keep that going because we have a gift for you.
Oh, my goodness.
Courtesy of Miss Salamino. We have a nice T-shirt for you, Tim. You can explain what it is, and maybe we'll jump on in to what happened in Cranston East sports over the break.
Oh, thank you, Chaz. Well, this shirt is fantastic. It is a 2023 Cranston Holiday Classic shirt. It is an extra large, perfect size for me. A nice gift from, the people that made the shirt. And I appreciate it very much. Speaking of Holiday Classic, Jazz, we had the Holiday Classic last week, before New Year's. Both facing Johnston, the D2 defending champs, and Cranston West, their rivals down in D2 as well. Lost both of them. Drew Barry and Al Kessy both leading the team in scoring in both losses. And it wasn't a pretty showing. That match was more of a let's see what we have to change before, the rough gets roughin'. This new year, a match today against North Kingstown, 1-4 on the D1 season, and the Bolts, after a very, very tough December schedule where, they were facing some undefeated teams, Cumberland, Hendricken, Classical, very tough teams. Hopefully the rest of the schedule pulls together and, just works its way out, just string a couple of wins. Of course, Coach Delfino's had a gauntlet to begin, and that winter tournament, despite both losses, we saw some things happen from Albert Kessy, his moves inside the paint, but we also saw some, the more of the same foul trouble. Sometimes just a lack of consistency on the offense, Chaz. Lack of consistency.
Yeah, they looked like a scrappy team. There was just some turnovers and foul trouble, which I've been told has been a problem the whole season for that group. And there's still time to turn things around, but it hasn't been the winningest of starts for boys basketball. The girls basketball team also had a similar tournament over at Cranston West, and they were over there. I know Evan Morrell, Cranston East TSM member, was part of the broadcast for that side of things for some of the games. And the Cranston East girls basketball team also hasn't been off to the greatest of starts, to say the least. They did have a win, though, in that tournament against Prout. They took down the Crusaders.
Yeah, and double OT. Maya Jimenez has a career high. Once again, that's her, I believe, second this season alone. And that just really shows how Jimenez is really the only player on that team that can reliably score for that offense. We haven't seen much coming from anybody else. I mean, Richu Larte sometimes pops in. Other than that, hasn't been much.
Well, that win against Prout was their first of the season. Before that, or after that game, they went on to face Cranston West, and they took a 71-49 loss. We're getting down the stretch now as we enter January, where there's pretty much plenty to talk about here for Cranston East winter sports. All teams are in, all systems go, and that includes our Mario Kart team, who picked up a huge win yesterday.
Yeah, Mario Kart team pulling off a tremendous win versus East Providence. Big win. Miles Darconti going on fire. The scores of the two matches, 96-60 and 97-59. Miles Darconti, the leading scorer, with 74 points. And I went to their practice for a little bit after my student council meeting before vacation. And they basically said their only strategy is to get out the way and let Miles do his thing. And it's obviously pretty working out well for them, I have to say.
If I was coaching that team, I know Mr. Danforth coaches the esports teams in Cranston East, but for Mario Kart, it's certainly, you just got to go fast at the start and then keep going fast in the middle. And if you finish fast, you should end up with a good placement. Yeah. I know that's my strategy when I take down Tim Yeen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the map. Sometimes you can't handle the heat on some of these maps, but most of the time it is definitely Charlie Adams.
Yeah, check your scoreboard, but check your scoreboard.
I mean, you guys got two people against one, so.
What do you mean?
You're running the split screen.
1v1. Yeah, I'm technically at a disadvantage, Chaz.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be at much of a disadvantage if Mario Kart could make their split screen horizontal, but since they decided to make it a vertical split screen, it does pretty much impair the person running split screen. I don't know whose idea it was to make it vertical instead of horizontal, but that's a different issue for a different day. The best map in Mario Kart is and will forever be Mute City. Of course, it's a great map. Great map. Maybe not the greatest of maps, but definitely one to go off the top of the head for and pull out when you're talking Cranston East sports and you're talking Mario Kart and you're talking esports.
By the way, Chad, I know it's been popping off on X, formerly known as Twitter, that Moo Moo Meadows cow. Your thoughts on him and the map overall?
Well, Moo Moo Meadows is definitely a classic map. I believe he made the cut for the graphic. And, yeah, he's a cool cow. Or the whole map has plenty of them. But it's an all right map. It's kind of short. You'll run through it before you even know it started. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to change my favorite map and go over to the Mario Kart Rainbow Road that's cut up into 3. That's also a great looking map and fun to race on, despite it now being a pretty short map since they split it into one lap. But moving on now, let's move back actually to the esports, because I just want to mention I was going to probably do esports, but now looking back on it, it was probably a good idea to not, seeing as I have no time on my hands. We got plenty of hockey action. You'll be at Brown University tomorrow. That's Saturday the 6th to call some hockey action, high school hockey, when LaSalle takes on Moses Brown. Yeah,
it should be an interesting matchup. My first time ever going to Brown University, actually, so it'll be a fun experience overall. Haven't done any research yet on these teams, but either way, I think it should be a fun time. Obviously going to Brown University at night, probably not some of the biggest things you want to do there, but, hey, it is what it is.
Today I'll be broadcasting Pilgrim taking on Cumberland and Bishop Hendricken taking on Mount St. Charles before a Saturday which tentatively has 6 games that I'll be broadcasting, all from Mount St. Charles's campus. The final game there will be Mount St. Charles taking on East Greenwich Tollgate Co-op. They played yesterday against Barrington, and they got handled by Barrington very easily. It was a runaway from the first period. Shout out to any East Greenwich Tollgate fans we have listening to the podcast. There's your East Greenwich Tollgate update. Now let's move into what's happening tonight, the North Kingstown game. And there was a little controversy. This game was scheduled, and then it wasn't, and now it's back scheduled. Tim, can you give us a little insight on what's going on here?
Yeah, so, to get into the legal details of it, it's kind of difficult, but just a lot of uncertainty due to the supposed to be scheduled be a bolt day on Sunday, which you can't attend anymore because it's postponed due to the upcoming weather, which is a snowstorm.
Will we be seeing a snow day or a delay, Tim, or will we be trekking out in 7 inches of snow at 7 a.m. on Monday?
Unfortunately, by the looks of it, by the looks of my weather app, it looks like the storm's going to be mostly covered through the weekend, which means by Monday, it's expected that, or I'm expecting that, all the snow trucks and snow plowers are going to roam the streets, and that'll be certainly sad to see, which means we probably will have school, but, maybe the storm blows over to Monday, and hopefully we get a snow day.
Yeah, well, it looks like Saturday might not have much in the way of snow, but we're getting projected 9.4 inches on Sunday. Hopefully that moves a little towards Monday and a little away from Saturday. Keep everyone happy on that front. And, Tim, there's plenty going on around Cranston East. Our winter ball coming up soon for the Thunderbolts. You're deeply invested in that student council endeavor. And bring us down the student council update here.
So we're hoping for a really big boost in sales this Friday. It's, hasn't been doing too well, to be honest with you, but I'm sure that, with the expiration being, today, that people will come by. And really, guys, it's all about the people that come to the winter ball that make the experience. Obviously, it's an essentiality. All these, dances are essentially dances, You got to have the people to bring the energy up. So you got to have that. You got to have those people come. And if those people come, they make, the night worth it.
All right. That's well said, Tim. And could we be expecting a extra additional time to buy tickets following this final day if we don't see a big jump in sales, Tim?
Yeah, we'll give it to Monday.
Oh, yep. Well, let's get an update now, which I'm really curious about because last podcast it was revealed that there is plans for Spirit Week on a 2-day week, which is absolutely ridiculous.
We will not be having it on a 2-day week. I will be happy to update you on that.
All right. Well, I'm glad that I could be the change. Tim's always talking about be the change.
Yeah,
We're getting it done here from the outside.
And I guess you can have part in this decision too. Should we have the future Spirit Week the week before February vacation, or that transition period between winter and spring sports?
Those are both way far away from.
It gives us time to plan.
I thought you guys had it planned for 2 weeks from now.
But now we have to promote it.
Oh, okay. So we're just making stuff up. Second quarter or second semester rather starts this coming couple weeks. So after finals week, I don't know. You're gonna have kids stressed out about the new quarter. You're not gonna want to do it then. Getting all the way to February break, I don't know, man. That's also gonna be a 4-day week. I'm pretty sure with President's Day maybe taking up one of those days. Not exactly sure what the calendar looks like, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be another Spirit Week that might get overthrown, Tim.
I don't know. We may have something cooking up.
Some bring your own backpack day, right?
If Barberry allows it.
Yeah. So that's not happening. Great. Let's move on now. Still sticking with Cranston East here at the school in the library today. It's Reverse College Day. Back once again. Who's some faces that you're hoping to see show up and maybe excited for if you know anything about who our guests might be today here at the Cranston East Library?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'd love to see, some old friends of mine, Wyatt Harris, from swim and cross country and outdoor track. Ben Chen, obviously, although we've seen him enough times here, Chaz. Keaton Holtzman, obviously a candidate. Go Wolverines. They made the CFP finals. And, Justin Sadowski, all those guys. Really hoping to see them, see how they're doing in college. And by the way, I was scrolling through my For You page. I saw a TikTok regarding Bentley University students, majors, and projected financial outcomes. And I saw Nate Carrillo on the thing. And I was like, what the heck? And so that was pretty funny. I saw that and, I got a good chuckle out of that. Hopefully I'll see him today. How about you, Chaz? Anybody you're willing to check out today for College and Cocoa?
Well, I'm not really checking out or looking forward to anyone particular. I'm looking forward to the knowledge they have to bestow upon us. Now, that's a great answer if I do say myself. And I'm excited to see what they have to share with us and help us along our process as we enter that college season. May 1st approaching quickly for everyone to put their decisions in for what college they'll be attending in Cranston East's unofficial decisions account. We have one decision made by one Emmett Billings, who's committed to University of Rhode Island for pharmacy. Congrats to him. Enjoy that, kid. He's a Ram. He's the first one to make that account. I'll take the credit where my credit is due. I have the format made for that thing, and if you saw the old one, you'll be glad what we got now. Trust me.
Who made the old one?
Hey, well, we don't need to air out the dirty laundry here on the podcast, Tim. But you mentioned the Wolverines and you mentioned Michigan. They're in the college football championship coming up soon, and it's going to be a great game against Michael Penix Jr., former future Patriot, hopefully, as both teams played in the college football playoff, taking down Bama and taking down
Texas.
Oh, yeah, taking down Texas.
Pick 'em horns.
They got slapped around there, and now we have our championship game, which was the championship that many were hoping for. Some people were scared that Alabama would do Alabama things, but seems like the Wolverines were able to get over that hump and make it across the finish line. Of course, the big story around the college football playoff is the exclusion of Florida State University, who also got slapped around by Georgia badly. Definitely not what you would call a football game after a couple of quarters in that one. And Tim, what's your thoughts on the college football playoffs, and mainly your thoughts on Michael Penix Jr. and how that will be in a Patriots jersey?
Well, Michael Penix, I saw some great throws from him that night. This one throw to his wide receiver was running down the sideline, and just perfect pass right there. He seems like a really good prospect. And if he does good this college football playoff, we could very well see him being in the top 5 conversation. So we could have a potential top 5 all quarterback draft once again, or top 4 and MHJ. But yeah, with the Patriots, they're locked in from 2 to 5. I feel like any of those picks would be, would be suitable for them to take a quarterback. Whether it be Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, or Michael Penix, who's again, maybe after this college football championship game, we could see him shoot up the draft board and into that top 5 position. But if it goes wrong for him, then then we see him just fall down. But yeah, hopefully he plays well, and maybe that'll be a future indicator of who our future quarterback is.
Likely, according to reports, that Bill Belichick will not be the one making that decision, probably for the best at this point, seeing his draft history in these past couple of drafts and for a while now since we got N'Keal Harry and all these bums. It's not been good for the Patriots, and reports are saying that Bill Belichick won't be returning. I don't know if I'm still 100% in on the story that he won't be returning. I'm going to have to see it to believe it, Tim.
Yeah, that's a see to believe situation. It's mostly been the head coach, Bill Belichick, that, maybe should stay. But, I mean, considering what this team has with GM Bill, I'm not sure that entire ordeal is enough to, make him stay around.
I don't know if the buying into the Patriot way mindset has as much pull on these free agents as it used to. I know there was years where it's just people who would come to the Patriots because they knew they would win, and now the Patriots are set up for one of the top draft picks, and no one wants to come here, and it's partly in due part to what's going on in New England. It's not the warmest, it's not the winningest anymore. It might be a rough decade. I know the Patriots were not winners for plenty of time before Tom Brady came around. Where's our next Tom Brady? Who knows? Maybe it's J.J. McCarthy, because the coach Harbaugh over at Michigan said that's the greatest Michigan quarterback to come out of that university. Do you believe that, Tim?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say it's all like that. J.J. McCarthy is solid. I mean, you can ask Caden Holtzman that question. I think he'll give you a different answer. But, yeah, I mean, if the Patriots draft him, I guess we have our next Brady. And maybe Gerard Mayo or Brian Flores from Minnesota, or, I don't know, maybe even Bill O'Brien, or, whoever. Maybe they're the next Belichick.
Oh, so another Belichick disciple is Tim's prediction to take over after Bill goes his separate ways from the team. And, I mean, there's all these top quarterbacks in the draft, but who knows? You see Brock Purdy, he was leading MVP voting for a while until he completely screwed the pooch and threw 4 picks, which was certainly going to kill his MVP chances this season. But he was drafted as Mr. Irrelevant. And, of course, Tom Brady in the 6th round. So maybe you can get somebody late and have good production out of them, take a more surefire pick. But who knows? Because some of these guys, some of these quarterbacks like Caleb Williams certainly seem to be a surefire pick. Tim, who do you have going number 1 in the draft right now?
Number 1? That's a very interesting decision for Chicago. I still trust in Justin Fields. The question is, do the Bears trust in Justin Fields? And that's where I'd say, at this point in the NFL's history, I feel like it's more common for teams to, let go of a prospect they deemed failed. I mean, you saw with Josh Rosen, I know he was absolutely buns, and that was a valid reason, but, it's kind of like that gut feeling where you don't know if that guy is going to stay. But I'm going to say that the Bears stick to continuing to help out Fields and whatnot and drafting Marvin Harrison Jr.
Interesting pick there. I was certainly on the Josh Rosen bandwagon, and I was certainly proven wrong.
Yeah, I feel like, I remember when everyone was saying Josh Rosen was, was basically being robbed of a, job, and then he played with the Dolphins. You forget his tenure there. And then he got traded again or released, whatever. And then, team after team after team. And then now you wonder, why is this guy still in the league?
And maybe he has a place now in the UFL, the Spring Football League, that might actually be the one to last. Maybe, probably not. I mean, it continues to just cycle through different leagues trying to get across as the spring football place. Now the XFL and the USFL have merged. So The Rock making mountains move to put together one united football league for the spring season. And Tim, do you have any faith that this spring football season will draw any attention and any care compared to leagues in years past?
Well, I mean, I know the XFL was trying to work with the NFL as sort of like a development league. So I think that if the NFL, continues to follow through that, we're using the UFL as like sort of like a development league for some younger players or, just for veterans to hang out on. That'd be, I feel like it'd be successful. It would be, profit making, and you gotta give it a few years because, those things don't always, come out with a bang. So, I'd say like let it grow. Again, don't start out too big. You just gotta let the consumers make it grow first. I'm not an economics guy, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, if you have the NFL money behind you, you're certainly gonna have some, hopefully, legs behind it, or at least more time to work and develop your team and your league as a whole. Let's go back to college football. College game day has come all the way back since the return of Pat McAfee to the program on ESPN. He's gotten a lot of praise and a lot of hate. He's a polarizing figure in the sports world. But, again, he's making moments for this program and loosening up some of these suits over there at ESPN that are all uptight reading the teleprompter. He's breaking the ice a little, and it happened again when we heard about what LANK means. Tim, you want to tell us what LANK stands for?
I don't know. What does it mean?
I believe, according to ESPN, it is Let a Naysayer Know. It's a brand of one of the players in the college football playoff, and it created some buzz on social media, to say the least, because some people thought it was going another direction. And, I mean, everyone knew it was Let a Naysayer Know since before he started it. I think it's somewhat of a nothing burger because, that's just what it is. That's what LANK has stood for forever. And Tim, would you like to tell us who John Doe 38 stands for, Tim?
John Doe 38. I thought it was John Doe 36. Although I think I might be thinking of the wrong John Doe.
I mean, there's plenty of John Does, Tim, but yeah, I think you're actually right. John Doe 36.
Is this one of the former U.S. U.S. president?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Bill Clinton,
Who has been in the news relating to that subject, which I don't know how much leeway we have to talk about it on this program, but
I mean, this is Thunderbolt Sports Talk, and our reason is to talk about sports and sport athletes. And sport athletes sometimes talk about other people.
So. Okay. I mean,
yeah.
I guess we have some connections, and I know you're kind of leading into a sport athlete named Aaron Rodgers implicating Jimmy Kimmel on the Pat McAfee show as a potential list member. And Jimmy Kimmel was not too pleased.
Yeah.
As a result, I know he had plenty of things and a creative way playing off of Aaron having two A's to address Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
let me response on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, let me quote Jimmy Kimmel on X, formerly known as Twitter. Let me paraphrase this a-hole. For the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up, and we will debate the facts further in court. At Aaron Rodgers 12.
And as the lists continue to come out and people continue to dig through what is plenty of pages of stuff to try to figure out who's who, it doesn't seem like Jimmy Kimmel made an appearance, and I've heard some formerly known as Twitter lawyers telling Aaron Rodgers to lawyer up, and I don't know if he has much of a case, but we'll see how that develops. It'll be all covered here on the Thunderbolt Sports Talk podcast.
Yeah.
But
then the day after, Pat McAfee was like, "Oh, it's just all like Aaron Rodgers just trying to talk trash," which tries to try and make a joke, which that was a pretty bad joke or pretty bad trash talk, I guess, to try and slander someone for being on the Epstein Island.
Hey, I mean, Aaron Rodgers continues to find ways to get into headlines. I know people don't seem to be in much favor of Aaron Rodgers, especially since he's started talking more, especially after getting hurt. He seems, whenever he's in the news, it's always, he's trying to get in the news, even though he's hurt. He's trying to take the spotlight. Womp womp. He won back-to-back MVPs, and he's the second greatest quarterback of all time. So if you let Tom Brady do it, you got to let Aaron Rodgers do it.
Yeah, second greatest quarterback of all time, right?
I mean, come on. He has the stats. I know people were, at one point, I've certainly heard a lot of talk between if Aaron Rodgers was better than Tom Brady all time while both were playing. I promise you, that was a real sports take. And second greatest of all time is certainly an argument to be made. I'd definitely put him above Drew Brees, especially if he returns from this injury and finishes his career off strong.
Above Peyton Manning?
Oh, yeah. Above Peyton Manning, of course. Of course. You're literally talking to a Patriots fan. I don't care.
All right.
I mean,
fair.
Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning, we all saw how that goed. We all saw how that went. Speaking of English language, let's transition smoothly into what might be our final topic of the podcast. We're 32 minutes in, but what's always on our minds here when doing the podcast is what's happening period 2, and that is always English language and literature with Mr. Smith, period 2 AP ELA honor, ELA 12. And we've had a busy week, to say the least, Tim, and it was helped out by an extension, a rare one at that, but I'm happy for it because I definitely would have needed it, or at least would have turned in worse work if the deadline hadn't moved. So I'm happy for it. Were you one of the people asking for an extension, Tim?
No. But, I agree with you, Chaz, did you ask for an extension?
No, I did not.
Yeah, but I feel, So I agree with you where if it was not extended, my work probably would have been worse, or just not done at all. But yeah, I feel like the story I wrote is pretty good. It was mostly a lesson about how to not be racist. So, which is very important these days.
Oh, well, yeah. These days, for hundreds of years, pretty much, at this point. But my story was kind of not similar. I don't know. But it was about just the fame and not letting it get the better of you, taking fame for granted and thinking you're invincible. It's kind of based off of a celebrity that's constantly in the news, and you could probably piece it together if you read it on who it is. It's made obvious at some points who it is.
Will you be presenting to the class?
I mean, maybe. I don't know if we're going to have the time to do it. You missed a great assignment last class.
Yeah, I know. I feel so sick about it, literally and figuratively.
Everyone was working on this survival assignment where you had 12 items that you had to rank.
Yeah, I heard about that from Andy Wu. I'm not going to say the word.
Okay, well, I mean, I have one complaint about the assignment. One of the items was 100 proof whiskey. And that took our number 2 slot for my group. and it was ranked 10th by the expert on the subject, and the reasoning was someone might drink it. Okay. You can purify water, and you can use it as literal lighter fluid if you need to. It's so flammable. It's 100 proof. So I don't know what we're doing here. Someone might drink it. For reference, number 9 on the list is a loaded gun. What?
Yeah, let me see
Why is the loaded?
Actually, you know what? Let's do the list right now.
Is this the official list?
Yeah, I have the photo of the
answers.
No, of just the things in general. So we have a ball of steel wool, a small axe, that loaded pistol, a can of Crisco shortening.
Yep.
Newspapers, a cigarette lighter, extra shirt and pants for each survivor, a 20 by 20 foot piece of heavy duty canvas, a sectional air map made with plastic, a quart of 100 proof whiskey, a compass, and family sized chocolate bars.
And yeah, that's the items, and the objective is to basically survive, stay warm. It's northern Canada during the coldest month of the year in January, so you're 20 miles away from civilization. You're hoping after a plane crash that the rescue team will come find you. So you're going to need a fire, and you're going to need some shelter, and you're going to need it quickly so you can stay warm and not do much movement. That pushes the axe down on my list because you're not going to be swinging at trees, and you're not going to want to waste that energy. You're not going to get much off of a frozen tree. It's minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you move on to things like the heavy-duty canvas. This looks like a surefire play to make a shelter. And then you have extra shirt and pants. You got to stay warm. Compass, not that useful. Air map, not that useful. You're not going to want to travel. It's too cold. If you walk, you're done. There's no way. The steel wool, though, you can start a fire with that. That's a great item. The pistol, pretty much useless. They listed as number 9, and they say that you can create noise to help people find you, which is true. But, I mean, come on.
I mean,
you know what else you can do with a gun? I don't even need to go further in there. You're not going to get a bear down with a gun.
Critical kill.
You literally have to hit him perfectly. It's a 45 cal.
Siege, critical kill.
Yeah, it's not doing anything. A cigarette lighter without fluid. Now that's interesting. It sparks without fluid, so you'll have something, but it's pretty cold, so you're going to need a little something. That's where the whiskey comes in. You could fill it up with that, and then you'd have essentially lighter fluid. That'd be my play.
How about the can of Crisco?
Well, the Crisco, it can burn. It can be a container when you're done with it. It's some sort of food. It's not tasty, to say the least, but it will keep you living, which is the goal here. And newspapers, I mean, they burn quick. They're a good fire starter if you need one. But the final item on the list being family-sized chocolate bars, which are absurdly ranked at 7 just because they give you some energy. They don't do much past that. I don't know what this survival expert is talking about, and I like the assignment as a whole, but the rankings at the end were absolutely ridiculous. So, Tim, you dodged a bullet maybe missing this assignment.
So
that was crazy.
So it was like an actual expert or like a ranked thing by the entire classroom expert?
No, there is a rankings made by an expert. The expert was Mark Wanvig, a former instructor in survival training for the Reconnaissance School of the 101st Division of the U.S. Army. Mr. Wanvig currently conducts wilderness survival training programs in Minneapolis, Minnesota area. And the survival simulation game is used in military training classrooms. So these are like the rankings, the be-all, end-all. And this is all in preparation of reading Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, are we reading that today?
Yeah, I think we might be getting into it. Who knows? It's a Friday before the weekend, which might hopefully be extended by that snow day on Monday. But
so that'll be like 3 books I gotta take account for now.
Yeah, well, you signed up for it, Yeen, and whoever's still listening here in our 40th minute, thank you for sticking around. This has been episode 16 of Thunderbolt Sports Talk here from Cranston East off of Mr. LaBanca's room in this nice green room, which is actually a pretty good temperature today. I mean, in the fall, it's been kind of hot in here. Hopefully it won't get too hot towards the summer. We're hoping to get a second semester of this podcast going soon. So when the semester turns over on January 22nd, hopefully you'll still be able to hear us here, same time and place on a Friday on Thunderbolt Sports Talk. We'd be excited to keep the program going. And Tim, without further ado, will you sign us off?
Achoo.